it's going to be your lucky day. You know, any of these puppies, because they treat their animals amazing. They live in a really nice area. Just great people, and I knew the dog would have a great life.
No, so thank you guys for coming on. Today we're here with President and co-founder of Lola's Lucky Day, Larissa Gavin, and Mark Gavin as well is joining us. So quite amazing rescue. So they've rescued over 8,200 animals. So I think it's 8,252 based off your last stats that I pulled off the website. Probably more by now, it seems like, since beginning in 2015. And their mission is to make a positive impact by rescuing animals that otherwise would not have a chance in Texas. They rescue pups from the streets, shelters, get them healthy, fully vetted, and spayed and neutered, and then partner with their Wisconsin contacts to match them with loving families in the northern U.S. So we featured them in 2021, I think it was, which was really exciting to do. But this is kind of our first real conversation over this nice technology we have going on here. So we're excited to have you guys and have this conversation and learn a little bit more and bring awareness to all the great things you guys are doing. So welcome and thank you for joining our conversation today.
Thanks for having us, Kevin.
All right. So so I guess we'll kind of kick it off. The first question I kind of thought we can get into was just, could you describe like the homeless dog situation in Houston or the South or Texas, and how is it today, and how has it changed over the past 5 years or so?
Well, coming from Wisconsin, where I was born and raised, it's complete opposite. In Wisconsin, if we ever saw a homeless dog wandering somewhere, it always belonged to somebody. Here, it's an everyday occurrence. There's parts of Houston where dogs just roam around. There's people that feed them. Um, the shelters are beyond full. Every day I get at least 20 emails, which is really overwhelming, of people just reaching out for help and they have nowhere to turn to. They'll say, I've emailed, 20 places and nobody has even responded. The shelters won't take the dogs, are full. So it's a really dire situation, unfortunately. We're working really hard to change that. And starting from the ground up, we work with so many other rescue groups here, to work on the source of the problem, educating people. And also, one of the big things that we stress, that we like to do is, hopefully when we get a dog, maybe it's owned and it just needs to get back to its owner. So microchipping is one of the first things that we do whenever we get a dog into our possession. So ideally, if we can find an owner where it's, that it's wanted, that's the best outcome. The second thing that we like to focus on is if you're able to keep your pet and you just don't have the funds to do so, we will gladly spay or neuter your dog for you. And there's been times where we've provided, different resources to enable an owner to keep their dog with them. So, we're working really hard. We really try to stay positive, put a positive spin on things. And as you mentioned, we've actually now rescued, not including tomorrow's transport, which is an additional almost 25 dogs, 8,779. So that's just transported into homes since we founded in 2015. And all of those dogs are spayed and neutered, plus our outreach program of spaying and neutering owned pets here in Houston, the Houston area, and that's over 1,200. So something we really
Wow.
take pride in, and those are all dogs that could have had much different outcomes, and also those dogs could have had puppies, and that number just gets astronomical when you're dealing with those types of numbers.
Wow. Yeah, no, 8,000, I mean, 8,700 that's a number not to blink at by any means. And it's amazing. And, and it just makes sense too, because you're solving a problem and also helping solve like the driver behind it with
Exactly.
spaying and neutering and kind of helping with all that. So maybe kind of thinking about you mentioning you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
When did you move into the Houston area, and like how long before you kind of made the call to begin this venture with Lola's Lucky Day?
Yeah, so I attended school at Texas A&M. Um, from Wisconsin. I just went there. I didn't know anybody, and I loved it here. I ended up staying. Even in college, Texas A&M is about an hour and a half from Houston. I would just get I mean, it's not as bad as it is here in the Houston area, but random dogs would just show up at my house, so they kind of found me. And the funny thing is, I never had a dog growing up. I always wanted a dog, but my parents never had one, so I guess I'm making that up tenfold now. But so coming from Wisconsin, again, the problem there is completely different, much different mentality, a lot more programs, education, just promoting spay and neuter, responsible pet ownership. So in 2014, my sister had adopted a dog from another rescue organization, and that Christmas we went out to go and help that rescue and see, where did this dog come from, kind of get a background, more information. And her dog Fiona had been sitting in boarding for almost a year before she adopted it, and it was a dog that was found by street feeders in a really poor area of town. And my dad, my sister, and I from Wisconsin all went out and we were feeding dogs, and it was just really eye-opening, night and day experience. I vividly remember looking up while we're feeding these homeless dogs. It felt like a third world country, and I saw my office building downtown 10 minutes away, and it was I couldn't believe that this was happening this close, and I didn't know that it was such a problem. So really at that moment I was like, we need to do something about this. And my dad, as I mentioned, was with me, and he said, in Wisconsin it's clear, obviously it's not like this, and that just sparked a interest. And I'm like, okay. So I just hit the ground running, and I started contacting anybody that would listen to me, to see who would, if I send you a fully vetted dog that all you need to do is adopt it out, would you take it? So luckily I have an amazing husband who has been so supportive and really has stood by me since I started this crazy idea. And I mean, there's been times where I'd come home from work and I'd have like 10 puppies, and he still stayed married to me. And we would actually, at the very beginning, we would, there's not like a school to go to for learning how to rescue dogs and transport them, which was kind of a newer thing. Like, there's more organizations that do that now, but I didn't really have any experience doing that. So we would just get a list together, get people's dogs that they've rescued, and Mark and I on a Saturday morning would load up a rented SUV from Houston at our house, and we were kind of like, how many can fit in this SUV that we picked up 30 minutes ago? And get them all in there. Mark would drive straight through. I would courtesy offer to drive, but he drove the whole way usually. And we would get there Sunday morning. I started off by working with a childhood friend that I've known forever, who eventually started Patty's Paws, which is one of our main partners. And she accepted the dogs, and then she started her whole thing of vetting families to match these dogs. So ideally, when they get to Wisconsin, they have an adopter waiting for them. We've done a lot of, they're in a foster home getting healthy, vetted, and we find out what is the best home? Does this dog like other dogs? Does it like children? Where, what kind of things would be best suited for a home? And so ideally when they arrive on Sunday mornings, they're going straight to their adopter. So it makes our program really efficient. So we're not competing with adopters here in Houston where it's an oversaturated market. We're, sending dogs to Wisconsin to be adopted. And then, so what we would do back then is fly back home on Sunday night and then go back to work Monday, and then we might do it again the following weekend. So I think it's really come full circle now. We have an amazing team, and I really cannot stress how important that is, because I'm not doing it alone. We have amazing people helping, and from the very beginning, there's just been so many people that have stood by us, and then also just financial supporters that they might not be able to foster or help in other ways, but they're, helping us run this program, which is so important. And additionally, there's no paid employees. So that's one thing where, every cent that comes in goes back to our program. So that's one thing I really take pride in is, there's other organizations where, 50% of your dollar that is donated goes to somebody's salary. Um, we have regular jobs, so we're fortunate in that aspect where all of the money is going directly to the cause.
Wow, that's a really cool backstory, and just leveraging your connections, you kind of your upbringing and how you're able to use all that to bring dogs into a, like you said, a saturated market, into a market where families are looking for two rescue dogs, and it just seems like the perfect fit. And I definitely want to get back into the team building aspect, because that's always an interesting part. But I kind of want to flash back to 2015 and kind of go back to the conversations going on. Maybe Mark and Larissa, what were the conversations like as you're thinking of this idea, and not, and it goes from an idea to like executing on it and becoming a real tangible mission.
I guess I'm one of those people where I get an idea in my head and I'm just going to do it. So, the actually what happened was I had gone back to work that following Monday after going out to visit that area where my sister's dog came from, and I'm an executive assistant, and I went in to talk to my boss, and he just off the cuff said, and we really never talked about anything personal. I didn't know he even had dogs at the time, and he said, "You know what? My kids want another dog." And thinking I didn't even know you had dogs. We never talk about anything like that. And kind of under my breath, I was like, "Oh, I have like 8 at my house right now."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You do? You want to bring them over and see?" And I guess, and so they had always had rescue dogs, and I'm like, "Sure, yeah, great." And so that weekend, I brought over like 4 puppies, I think it was, Mark.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting them all bathed and cute and ready and putting like little bows on them. And in my head, I was thinking, okay, whoever gets this gig, it's going to be your lucky day. Any of these puppies, because they treat their animals amazing. They live in a really nice area, just great people, and I knew the dog would have a great life. And luckily for that dog, one of the puppies, they picked Lola. So that's our Lola with Lola's Lucky Day. And she's an amazing dog. So she ended up staying here local in Houston. So it's great. She can go to events with us. And
That's awesome.
she's just so good. And she came from that same area, the same area where my sister's dog came from, which is known for dumping dogs. And she was found with her siblings under a house. But the neat thing was, the next week my boss comes in and he was kind of talking to me like, "Okay, what are you doing?" And in 2014, it was me doing these trips that I was mentioning, but we were just paying out of pocket with our own money. It was not a 501c3 yet. And so he said, I explained the situation. We're renting vehicles, and he's like, well, I'd be willing to do a dollar for dollar match up to $20,000 if you get a 501c3. So that was how we started, and we ended up, it really just took like one person believing in me, that I could do it, and it took off from there. And also just having a really great husband, a really great team. You find out who's gonna help you, and then kind of who doesn't. You just move on. And it was such a learning experience, and I'll say it, a million times, just how great a team we have is a direct reflection of what we've been capable of. So I think it's been really beneficial to have such great people on our side. We've built a really great reputation in the city, and it's helped us in so many ways with connecting with people, to either network or help in some direction. But yeah, so we ended up starting our 501c3, and I wanted to, keep it a positive name. And so I named it Lola's Lucky Day. My boss's family, their last name is actually Day. So it's kind of like a silent thank you to them
cool.
as well. But I just liked keeping it positive and happy. And that's how we started. So
That's
I don't know if
awesome.
you want to mention any of the thoughts or anything you had when we were starting.
No, I mean, like, most of it was just like that we had to find a way to fundraise to get our own vehicle because it used to be so stressful, just like not knowing what vehicle we were going to get when we went to the rental place. It was like 1 week you'd have a Tahoe, so you'd know exactly how the kennels were going to fit, and then the next week you get an Explorer.
It's just like rolling the dice, you know.
Like, okay.
And then we're like, fitting everybody in.
Yeah.
So
and it was a one-way rental, so it's not like you could just leave the kennels in there, and then so we had to figure out that aspect of it too, like what kennels can we leave up there, so then we'd have some for the next transportation or ship them back and everything. So
and
there's a lot of behind the scenes logistics that
it was a ton
we didn't really think of at first, that just like each trip you learn something new.
Right. And another thing we were doing also was flying dogs, which is not cost effective at all. So I mean, really, for a good portion of 2014, it was just self-funded, and I was kind of working to pay for my, my passion. So, going back to what he said, it was a lot of learning of, okay, well, we needed to do this, and we didn't know to do that. And so I think at this point in 2023, it makes us so grateful for what we have now. Like, we have 2 transport vehicles. We have a team of people that meet on Saturday mornings, and our stuff is so organized for each dog. Like, ready to go, organized. And we've made the trips ourselves, and we have all volunteer drivers. So we're so grateful to the volunteer drivers. We've done it. So I've never asked any volunteer to do something that I have not personally done. So that's kind of something that I've carried through from my previous jobs, where I don't want to be, in charge of something and asking people to do something for me that I've never done. So I think that's kind of also made a difference maybe with our team. Like, it's a team, we're all on the same level, nobody's getting paid, and so I'm so appreciative that we're doing this from the heart and for a really great cause.
No, that's such a cool backstory. And one of the things I appreciate the most is just the execution level of just not having the perfect plan, but just having the idea and just kind of figuring it out as you go. Where I feel like today, many people just want to have this like perfect business plan or perfect, idea and have it all planned out of how to do stuff. And I mean, the only way to really figure it out, like even us as like with PACKT, is we had no idea what we were doing. And now you just you learn as you go. And I think that's a cool backstory of just having the mission and the cause that you wanted to accomplish and doing that. So wow, that's such a cool story. And
I mean, I think also with PACKT as your business, how are you going to make things better? Like, getting feedback from your employees, from your team, and also just you might slip up and do the wrong thing. How can we make it? Just having those discussions. How can we make this more efficient? How can we make it better? And in the rescue world, one of the things I came across was, it was kind of initially, whenever I started, it was like us against you. And I'm like, we're all doing this to save animals. So let's work on this. My point of view has always been, let's work on this together. People will often ask me, how did you do this? How did you do that? And if you're all ears, I will gladly explain it to you. The more people that are working together to help solve this problem, the sooner it's going to get done. So we're really fortunate to have some amazing groups that we work with, both locally in Texas, but also we have some in Colorado. We have, all of our partners in Wisconsin. We're always looking for more partners, on the East Coast, West Coast, where this fortunately is not a problem. So, yeah.
No, it's cool. Just now, 6 years, or not 6 years, wait, 8 years. What am I thinking? How do you feel with your children, seeing you guys kind of managing this volunteer, not 501c3 charity that really saves animals? How do you think that's impacted them as they grow up?
I love that question, Kevin. And the funny thing is, we waited longer in life to have kids, and we were so focused on our careers, and then this dog rescue, and traveling. And I think one of the best things we did before having kids is just, juggle all these dogs and, care for really critical dogs. Mark has had his experiences with parvo dogs, and I was gone and, treating them and literally saving their lives. So there was a lot of teaching moments that carried through to us being a parent. But the most important and one of the most rewarding things now being a parent is my kids being a part of this. They, ever since they could walk, they've been helping me with it. And I'll take them with me to the vet to go rescue dogs. They love naming dogs. They just are really, they love talking to people about what we do. And I just wish that mentality could be, that's how things will change, is the next generation is knowing about this problem and knowing what we're doing, how to solve it, how we treat animals, and just being a really good example, being an example as we lead of how it works. But it gives me so much pride when my, there's one of them, when my kids just help, and it's so sweet when they'll be like, good boy, good girl, you're okay, you're safe now. And, they're mimicking things that we have done, but it just sounds so pure and sweet and so wholesome coming from a 4-year-old that knows that's how we treat dogs. And it's just so rewarding. And I love that aspect about it. I didn't, know what to expect. And that has been such a gift. And it's really nice too, because I'm like, it gets along with kids, great. Little kids, great. And they're really good helpers, like cleaning out my van, feeding the dog, or cleaning out the dog van, feeding the dogs. Just, I show them everything we do. They do dishes, they clean the kennels, bathe them. So they're part of it. It's a family thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's such a good experience, and just good family building. I can only imagine, right? You guys are all kind of in it together, which is really cool. Maybe, and I know we're kind of running into some time here. I just want to make sure too. I don't want to. Are you guys okay for a few more minutes, or?
We're
Oh, sure. Okay. Awesome. Just want to make sure I don't, run over or go longer than you guys are expecting. But
no, we're good as long as you need us.
no, I guess kind of jumping back into the team aspect in the building, and as you mentioned, it's you guys kicked it off, but there's a big team behind everything. How would you say were some critical strategies and or things that you did to build a successful team you have of volunteers that are so committed to Lola's Lucky Day, and ultimately rescuing 8,700 animals over the past 8 years? Like what would you say the keys to that success was from your perspective?
I would say personally, I've been raised in my regular job, you treat everybody the same. I don't care if it's the CEO or if it's somebody cleaning our office. Everybody's treated the same no matter what, and everybody's opinion and input counts. So I think, I'm not the boss of anybody. We're a team and we're all at the same level. We do it together. I want to hear the good and the bad. If you have any input or suggestions to make, tell me. Let's make this better. Let's make it more efficient. So I think just, working in that aspect has really provided some really great volunteers in the aspect of their attitudes and really great people. We've just been really fortunate in the people that we've come across. And again, it's, I treat everybody the same. When you meet somebody, you never know, like maybe they could help you in some aspect. Not the reason I'm doing that, but just, you never know who you're going to meet. And I've been so blessed with the people that I've met through dogs. Some of my very best friends, some of our biggest donors, some of our amazing volunteers. And in the big scheme of things, we have a really small volunteer base. There's, under 20 people, and we've rescued this many dogs. So it's really about being efficient and just, doing things how we've implemented and our protocols that we have in place. It's really important to, we have to make sure that we're licensed with the state of Wisconsin, that all of our dogs are completely healthy, that we're adhering to all the policies and making sure they're able to be a really good family member to somebody in Wisconsin, and it's going to be a great experience for everyone. But as far as another thing about our team is Mark and I kind of formed Lola's Lucky Day under like the premise of it's a business. That's our background, our jobs. So I think that's been really beneficial as far as like financially, and just it's really easy, as you would guess, to I get all these emails. I would love to save all of them. Is that realistic? No. Is that gonna put us in the red? Probably. So we just have to be smart about it and be really good business decision people. So I think that was another key factor in how we have been successful in running Lola's Lucky Day, is by running it like a business. So we never spend money we don't have. We pay off our credit. I'm weird, and I pay off our credit card bill almost every day because I hate owing people money, and I like knowing our bottom line daily. So and it's really easy. Like we have this one French bulldog. When we take in a dog, we're gonna take care of all of its medical bills. I'm not going to say, oh, you're too expensive now. I'm not going to. So, this one English bulldog has had like 3 surgeries, and, it gets into the thousands. So it's all about like being financially smart and just making the right decisions as far as, we can't physically take in more than we can pay for and that we can move at the same time. And we don't want to also take in dogs that can compromise the health of our other dogs in foster care. So there's a lot of moving parts to that, and just making sure that we stick to our protocols in place. And again, just also our does it feel right? Is this the right thing to do? Going with our gut, and then going with our, I trust everybody on our team. Like, what is your gut feeling on this? Or, I'm with you. So I think that has made a difference as well.
No, that's for sure a good point on having the business aspect and ensuring that you can grow and successfully rescue dogs that you do rescue, right? And give them the appropriate care needed, because it doesn't help anybody if you have too many and you can't help them all, especially in that area. Now that's if someone was, or when you think about your team, were most found out about, how did they find out about what you were doing and get involved? Was it, I guess I'll maybe just leave it as an open-ended question for you.
Yeah. So just, I guess, word of mouth is big.
Facebook was huge.
Yeah, Facebook. Social media.
Yeah.
Social media is and having our website and people contacting us. So once people know, your name kind of in Houston of what you're doing, we just get so many contacts all the time, and just word of mouth, I think, is one of the main things.
Yeah, different events around Houston area. There's been some fundraisers that we've gone to and met people at those, and then the Harris County used to have a spay and neuter day. So we met some different rescue groups or volunteers at that and things like that. So.
And kind of going back to what you had asked about earlier, I think it's just, again, so important for us to be working with other rescue groups. We're all doing the same thing. If we have good ideas, this works, this doesn't work, or, if we get a purebred, whatever, there's certain, rescues that are just for labs or just for bulldogs. And we will, hey, can you help us with this one? Or so I love the collaboration that we do, and that helps us find other people that we can work together with. There's a really great group in Houston called Houston Pet Set, and they're kind of like this big umbrella where they help all the rescues in Houston, mainly with funding and just ideas and advocating and going to the legislature. They're just a really great resource. And then they also kind of bring together the different groups in the area to work together. So again, team building, our team is everything. There's no way we would have been able to rescue the amount of dogs we have without having such a great team on board.
No, that's I think a really good point as well, not just the team that under Lola's Lucky Day, but just the teams within the community and making sure you're bridging the goal, the commonality, the common goals you guys have. And I think that's a really motivating story to kind of hear how you guys are all kind of combining efforts to make sure that you're not pulling from each other, you're supporting, helping
Right,
each other
yeah.
grow.
I
And
mean, it's just common sense.
right, yeah, no,
Like, let's work together, make it easier on everybody. So,
no, for sure.
yeah, it's something that we really enjoy doing is working with other groups. And, we would love to see a big drastic change here. And that's only going to happen if we're working together.
Right, especially, yeah, for sure. Um, no, that's really so. I think I've kind of one more question I want to maybe ask was, what's one thing you guys have done or have been able to accomplish that you did not expect to happen in 2014, 2015 when this endeavor began?
Yeah. So I vividly remember Mark and I attended, it was for the pug rescue here in Houston. So we had just started, I don't even know if we were a 501c3 yet or not, but it was, we had just started, and we met with this person. We went to an event for fundraising for pug rescue here, and I was just trying to pick her brain and the founder, and I said, okay, well, how many dogs do you rescue, and about how much a month do you spend? I'm like, we're numbers people, and we're like, okay, so how much is this going to cost? And she's like, our monthly bills are about $20,000, and I was like, my jaw probably hit the floor, and I mean, now it's like that's what our bills are, but we're so fortunate we pay them. Like I said, we pay them every day. We pay them off every day. But I mean, there's months where we've had $40,000 bills, and if you were to tell me that in 2014, I probably would have thrown up. But we're so fortunate. The funds always seem to magically come in. We have amazing supporters. We have really good team members that are amazing at social media, and just what social media can do nowadays. I love seeing donations come in, and they're from across the world, and even just different cities. And one of the things I always make sure to do, as much as I can, is just acknowledge any donation, just with a simple like thank you. Sometimes it can get super overwhelming, just with all I have going on, but that's one thing that I wanted to do with my personal rescue organization. Was one thing I didn't like when I would make donations to other rescues. I'm like, did they receive that? Or just a common courtesy. I like to at least say thank you, because again, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without people supporting us and helping us. And I mean, just Kevin with PACKT approaching us and helping us how you did, and how you're doing now is just so appreciated, and it really makes a difference. And it's just funneling this system of making a positive change here, where it's all going towards helping this greater good.
And it's amazing to see. It's not like you get all these huge donations where it's like 10,000, 5,000 here. It's a lot of $5, $10 ones that just like Facebook campaigns or things like that add up, and it's like it's amazing just how many of those small donations, like what that does when they're all grouped together.
Yeah, and I actually had a meeting one time with Best Friends Animal Society, and I don't know if you've heard of them. They're an amazing organization. They're based out of Utah, but they're national, and they have some amazing goals in place to make our country no kill by, don't quote me on the date, I don't know, but they just do really great things. And I had been fortunate enough to have dinner with some of the founders, and I said, how are you funding this? Because they have an amazing sanctuary in Utah. They have a payroll of employees, and they said, you know what, it's actually a bunch. I thought it must be like some huge donors that are just donating a ton. And they said, no, it's a bunch. It's actually a majority. Can you take it? It's actually a majority of small donations. So we have a thing with Lola's where it's our 100 club. So you can sign up to donate monthly, and it can be any amount. I mean, there's people that donate $2.50 a month, all the way up to like $200 a month. So it doesn't matter the amount, and I think like the average is probably like 15, but it's a lot of people doing the same thing, and it just adds up. And that really helps us with, again, with financially planning. So I can, like it's a monthly number that I can depend on to do our budgeting and forecasting.
Oh, that's a good point too, and to the the amount is doesn't matter. It's the support, the intent, and like you said, it could be $5, 250 to 100, 1,000, whatever it might be, and it all goes to a great cause, and it's the accumulation of it all which really helps. So no, that's really good to hear, and I think it's good for hopefully our listeners and viewers to hear too. Like you don't it doesn't have to be anything big, any support. And even like if you think about anybody that would purchase from us, I think we're at the 5%, and it's going to be so 250 on every $50, which hopefully our goal is to get another few $1,000s donated to you guys, which would be really really great.
And and
And see,
anything helps and is so appreciated. I mean, I can't stress that enough. It does, and also just getting the name out and knowing about this problem, and what we're doing down here to try and fix it. So
right.
it's it's a huge help.
Oh, awesome. Well, my hope too is, the dollars help run the organization. This is where we're trying to get back into the awareness piece of it, and maybe
Exactly.
I mean your story. It's cool to get the about page only tells you so much. So hearing the backstories and the kind of the grind and the
Yeah.
idea come to life, hopefully will be motivating and maybe help somebody else that has the same vision just get start, and that'd be just if one person hears this and starts, next thing you know, maybe in 8 years they're rescuing 8,000 dogs.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so hopefully that's one of our not new goals, but just we want to get that back into the focus of hopefully posting this kind of stuff. And I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. And I know you have a day job and a side job and a volunteer and all kinds of stuff going on, and children, which I empathize with too, as we have three of our own. So it's not an easy thing, but it keeps life worth it, right? And
Yeah.
appreciate all you guys do.
Yeah, thank you. And real quick, I just wanted to mention, like, there's hard days where it's like, oh my gosh, can I still do this? But then I'll see, like the other day, I just saw one of our dogs on a boat in Wisconsin, and that dog came off the street, and it's like that's what motivates me, and just again, like my kids. Just seeing I made a decision to take in this dog and it changed that dog's life, but look how many people it's going to possibly, positively affect as well. So not just that dog, but the people that dog meets, the people that see our story as well. So yeah, but I really appreciate Kevin, you taking the time to do this interview and just get the word out, but also again the support that PACKT is showing for us yet again. And we love PACKT collars and PACKT leashes. They're amazing. The harnesses are great for our big dogs, and I just love the aspect of them. We're like clean nuts over here, and I'm constantly washing things, and just the durability and just how easy they are to clean, like sold. So great product.
Oh, well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And actually, what we're going to actually do, and I wanted to let you know, is we do have some 10 leashes and 10 collars I wanted to send down to you as just a little
Yay!
gift. So
Thank
hopefully
you.
that will be something that you guys
Oh,
enjoy and
awesome.
can
We will
use,
yeah,
put them
we
to the
will put
test.
them to good use. Yeah, we'll put them to good use, and we'll have them be modeled by our
Oh,
Lola's dogs.
yeah. Or just, yeah, do whatever you need with them. Are there certain sizes that are better or smaller? Doesn't matter across the board.
Just a mix. We do every type of dog, so we'll take whatever and we'll put it to good use. So yeah.
Awesome. We'll definitely get some sent down there for you guys, and we have some new stuff coming out too. So hopefully you guys will keep an eye on it. We're excited.
Yeah. Well, we're
Um,
excited. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
well, thank you, and I guess we'll be in touch soon. And good luck with everything. And again,
Thank
thanks,
you.
and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
All right, thanks, Larissa.
Thank you.
Oh, and thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. And
Yeah, no